What's going on, guys? Dan with Right Now Powder Coating, and in today's video we're going to talk about a few things that you guys can do at home or at work to grow your powder coating business. I've been getting this question a lot, so let's get into it. Alright, so you're going to want to stick around to the end because we're going to give you the #1 secret to growing your powder coating business, and it's probably not as big of a secret as you think it is. So here I am right in front of my booth. If you guys have been watching for a while, or my booth, my line, my conveyor system, you will know that we've been putting this thing together for almost a year. I bought it back in February. It came out of another business location in Nebraska. We had it shipped over in pieces. The washer here came as one big unit. The booth came in panels and pieces, and the rail came in sections. You can actually see there in the video a weld where we pieced it together. So we are so close to having this thing together. I wanted to do a quick tour. And what does this have to do with growing your business? Well, I grew my business to the point where it makes sense to have this. So I'm proud of it. I want to show it off. So we're going to flip the camera and we're going to take a look at what this system looks like, and then we'll get into those tips real quick. I'm sure a bunch of you are skipping ahead right now, but that's okay. So this is our washer. We'll be hanging our parts right here. They'll go in through the washer this way. It's only a 2-stage, so this is a very small system. It will go into the first section. There are 2 sections inside the washer. Stage 1 tank, stage 2 tank. It's a heated tank on that side. These are the pumps. They pump the water up and wash the parts. There's a cleaner phosphate in the first, and then just a city water rinse. We may expand because our chemical guy keeps telling us we're going to want to put a RO rinse at the end just for cleaner parts. We are still cleaning this bad boy out. If you've never seen in one of these, they're kind of cool. They do kind of all the work for you. So the parts wrap around here and then go into here. I've actually started pulling all the nozzles out because we're going to clean them. And the way we're going to clean all this scale off is with muriatic acid. I guess we can just dunk them in and it'll come off. But I've been in here scraping up all of this crap, getting it all off, cleaning all the pipes. But there's tubes that go up, and the sprayers just spray the part as it goes down. You can see that first section there. Those are the heating coils, and then it'll rinse on the other side. When it comes out, it takes care of the drying part too. So it's going to come out on this rail here, and it's going to go into the drying section of the oven. We're not done in there. You can see the light. We've got to put some panels up here. It kind of separates it so this section doesn't get too hot, and it keeps the majority of the heat over in the main oven. We've got our door here. So you can see there's some of the paneling, but there'll be more paneling. You can't really see in here because it's dark, but there's a bunch of rail in there. And it will come out of the dry off. It will go into the booth. It's not a very big booth. In fact, I'm 6'2", and I'm probably 2 inches off the ceiling, but the parts will pass through the opening here, and your painter will paint them here. We're going to put most of them on a spinner. You'll be able to spin it around, paint the back side, and it'll go on through there. I think there's going to be a lot of trial and error as we try and figure this all out. I'm actually going to have some panels made to come down and protect the chain, because I spent probably 8 hours up inside the rail cleaning all the baked on powder out. This was in a really small room. It was super hot, and I think the powder, you can see, just baked onto it. There's just chunks and chunks of it there. So it is then going to go into the oven where it will double back through it to cure. The line moves at about 2 feet per minute, and it never shuts off. So that is going to be amazing. It's going to increase our production phenomenally. So phenomenally. Funny word. It's going to increase our production like I can't even believe. I am so excited for it. We've got our gas lines set up. We've got to run some water lines still. We've got to run this is the control panel for The oven, all that's got to be ran. We've got our new electrical coming into the building. These boxes are on here just to keep powder off the transformer, which goes down and feeds our shop breaker. This is our new 480 service that will power all of this stuff. So the first tip I'm going to give you guys, who have stuck around long enough, is you need to be ready to grow. So when you're telling me, hey, how do you grow? How do you find customers? How do you get this? You need to be prepared for what that looks like. We weren't prepared at all, and that's how I know to tell you this. So we had a customer come to us that just took manufacturing in-house, and they didn't give us any details on how fast they wanted to grow. They didn't give us any details on how many parts they were going to bring. They just said, hey, do you have capacity? And that's still a word I'm struggling with today. I don't know the best way to calculate our capacity. Obviously, you know how many sets of wheels you can get done in a day because you've done them enough, or you know how many widgets you guys can get done in a day because you've done them enough. But for a company to say we have these parts and you have to figure out how many you can get done in a day and how quickly you can get them back is a very hard thing to do. And the only thing I've been able to do is to tell them, look, I need to work through some of these. We need to do some trial and error, figure out how to hang them, figure out how long it's going to take to wash them, dry them, coat them, cure them. And then the one thing I think a lot of people overlook is how much time you have to package them properly without causing damage in shipping. So that all has to tie into your price. That all has to tie into your capacity and how much you can do. So make sure you can do the parts before you tell a big customer you can't. I know from experience I've lost customers because I was excited, I was eager that a big company wanted to work with us, and we weren't ready for it. And unfortunately, I think that burnt the bridge. They're not going to come back. They may, they're most likely not. So make sure you can handle it. That is the main thing. So everyone wants it because they think they're going to get a lot of money, they're going to make a ton of money, but it comes with a lot of growing pains. In the last year, I've had to hire, fire, rehire, people quit. I mean, I've spent so much time hiring people, training people, and getting them going that it's not fun. It's not a good time. I don't enjoy it, but I'm not big enough to have that HR person. So growing quickly, picking up big manufacturers, yes, it's the quickest way to add dollars to the bottom line, but it's also the quickest way to probably lose your mind when you're trying to keep your head above water. So be mindful of that. If you find a customer, like we have a customer who does motorcycle systems that like tie the bikes down, we don't get a ton of business from him, but he was a perfect customer to start understanding how to coat manufactured parts. Obviously, if you're doing wheels, car parts, anything that has to be really, really nice, it is a totally different process than when you start getting into the industrial side, where yes, the parts need to look nice, but they need to be handled in a different way if you're going to make money. You can't sandblast 10,000 parts by hand in a blast cabinet, hang them, coat them, and expect to make money. So this all just goes into being prepared, knowing how your processes work, knowing what you can and can't do, and if you have the staff to do that. But if you are ready to go and you're like, I'm ready, I have the capacity, I have the know-how, I have the support, I have the help, then the main thing you can do is start researching the companies in your area. I would start in a 30-mile radius, especially if you don't have the capacity to go out and pick up and deliver, because they're not going to want to travel that far, especially to someone they don't know. And I would start connecting with these people. The last customer we had that I actually ended up, I think, upsetting, and they're not using us anymore, we found on LinkedIn just by reaching out to them, connecting with them. And I didn't even send, we don't do the cold messaging because I think that irritates people. I don't think they want to have everyone becoming friends with them on LinkedIn and then instantly going, how can we help your business? How can we do this? Can we support you? Can you send us parts? So I just try and connect with as many industrial companies out there, and the reason is I want them to see my brand. I want them to see that there's another option, And then anytime they post, engage with their posts, like their posts, comment on their posts if you have something of quality to say. Just the more times they can see your business name in front of them, and this isn't just LinkedIn, you can do Instagram, you can do Facebook, you can do all of those things. And even if you know they're working with other powder coaters, this is a big, big world. There's plenty of business out there for everyone. Don't be afraid if your competition made a comment on there to get on there and do the same thing. It doesn't hurt to have options for these guys. I know a lot of powder coaters get overwhelmed and they can't keep up. One of our biggest customer uses 2 other companies right now. We know they do. We don't care because they're trying to get their end product out and they're waiting for us to grow. So you've got to be willing to work with your competition, but also not be afraid of them. So yeah, find them on social media, research whoever's in your area. If you're really ambitious, you can start cold emailing them, explain your processes, how you process parts, how quickly you would expect to be able to fulfill their orders, all that kind of stuff. They're gonna wanna know what your turnaround is, what your pricing is, what your quality is, if you're ISO rated, if you're, you know, all the other ratings, that sort of stuff. So if you're a small business, you're probably not going to have a lot of that. I would target smaller companies to start off with. Start building your procedures, start getting the flow down, and then start going for the bigger fish. We may come off a little bit bigger than we are. We are not. I call us a micro powder coater. I've got 3 full-time employees, 2 batch ovens, and we're putting together this conveyor system. We are operating all of this out of a 4,400 square foot building. We did just build our 3,300 square foot building, but we aren't using that for anything other than jacking up cars and taking wheels off. I do have some big plans for that, obviously, but we aren't doing anything with that yet. But yeah, network. That will be your best friend. Yeah, that's what I got. So be ready for it though, because you will lose potential customers who will not come back if you are not ready. So I hope you guys got something out of this video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and do me a big favor. Follow me on social media. I was just thinking about this. I'm not even at 1,000 follows on Instagram, which I don't understand. It's probably because I don't post anything cool. But if you're on here, you're one of my loyals. Do me a favor, find Right Now Powder Coating on Instagram and follow us. I would appreciate it a lot. Kind of builds our awareness and whatnot. So anyways, we'll catch you guys on the next one.